What's going on, guys? Welcome back again to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. We're making a bit of a thing of this today, aren't we? You and I. We've had Match Day Reloaded, the Europa League draw. Now we've got a press conference reaction because it's all go. It's not just the matches that are coming thick and fast at the moment for Manchester United and Manchester United fans. It's also the press conferences, the previews, the reactions. It's coming thick and fast here at United View. And we're back for another video. We're back for another press conference reaction. Erik ten Hag has spoken to the assembled media at Carrington this morning ahead of Sunday's Carabao Cup final. It's Manchester United versus Newcastle United at Wembley. The first bit of silverware of the season is to be decided, and Erik ten Hag has spoken on a variety of topics, some interesting subplots as we head into Sunday's final at Wembley. What's going on with Marcus Rashford? A bit of an update on him. Kind of, but not really. One thing is for certain, speaking of injuries, Anthony Martial will not be available for Sunday's Carabao Cup final clash. Erik ten Hag has confirmed that he is, whilst he's back in individual training, he's not back in team training, I guess, just yet, meaning that he's not going to be playing this Sunday at Wembley either. So certainly a lot to get into. He also spoke about Newcastle being a bit annoying. He used the phrase annoying, which, as you would expect, the media pounced and they jumped over. They were like Anthony with the claws out. They were right on him. And he had to defend himself a little bit there, which was certainly curious. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. I know there is a lot going on this morning, certainly. There have been a lot of videos, as I mentioned, Match Day Reloaded. Check that out. We had the KG's interview of Anthony. Check that out. Remember, if you go watch that video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment on it for your opportunity to win a signed Anthony away shirt. Yes, I'm not sure how many of them there actually are around, so if you haven't already, go to that video, click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and you'll be in with the opportunity to win that one too. And we'll do an announcement, I guess, at some point, announcing who has won that signed shirt. We also had the Europa League draw reaction. Myself and Paolo were live. We know that we're going to be playing Real Betis in the last 16 of the Europa League. We've got this press conference reaction that we're doing right now. We've got all sorts of stuff going on as we get closer and closer to Sunday and Wembley. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As Keegan says, one of our members, UV subscribers are spoiled for choice today. I know we're barely into the afternoon. This is the fourth video of the day. It's crazy, but that's Manchester United. That is the price for success. That is the price of success, rather, and that realistically, that's the position we all want to be in. We want to be busy. We want to be discussing all of these games and all of the possibilities of trophies that Manchester United could be winning. So it certainly is great. Also, as well, did you see this? If you haven't already, follow us on all of our social media platforms at United View TV on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you go on to Twitter, certainly, I'm not sure it's up yet on Instagram, KG, not only is he interviewing Anthony and doing a 360 spin next to the Manchester United winger, he bumped into David Gill today. Yeah, I think you have to see it to believe it. But yeah, bumps into the former Manchester United chief executive. Him and Fergie, the ultimate partnership, bringing in transfers, trophies, and millions of fans around the world. David Gill, KG and David. KG, that comedian, and David, that Gill. Yes, together. It's a picture I never thought I'd see, and I'm so happy for already seeing it. So check that out, and whilst you're there, give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. Also, welcome to Ethan. Before we even came live, Ethan's the latest member of the UV Members Club. Welcome, Ethan. If you want to join Ethan in the United View Members Club, you can do so. You can click the link. It's pinned in the chat. You can go into the video description, or you can click join. You get a variety of perks. You get your badges, your emojis. My word, there are plenty of emojis. You get your exclusive members-only content, which we're really opening up recently. We've got UV Raw, new episodes coming soon, but you've got the entire back catalogue of that so far. Behind-the-scenes look at the day-to-day goings-on. At United View, you've got different kind of videos that we're doing now. We did a game of Star Wars Guess Who way back when, myself and Flex. I did a Q&A, which I'm going to be doing more of because I really enjoyed that as well. And I also dropped a review of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I'm going to be doing more of them too. So there is a lot. You get a lot for your buck, as they would say. So if you want to join Ethan, you can do so by all of the various avenues that I just mentioned. Yes, right, let's get into this press conference because, again, it's You can celebrate for about 5 minutes of the success of last night's victory against Barcelona in the Europa League, but all heads, eyes and directions turn to Sunday and the Carabao Cup final. So Erik ten Hag spoke to the media, and the first question was, how does it feel leading United to a cup final so early on in your tenure at Manchester United, and what does that say about the progress that you're making at the club? And he said it's great. Obviously, you take every game serious, but it's great to play a final. And that's always kind of the way sometimes with these press conferences. They start with two ways: either a really tough question that everyone expects if it's a big news story, like for instance when Ronaldo was here, it was always bang, Ronaldo, what's going on with him? Or it's a bit of a softball, and it was a softball with this one. It was, how does it feel? It feels great. It feels great to be competing for trophies. Of course, it's where we expect to be, and it's great to play a final. Now, maybe the biggest question on the minds of several United fans coming out of last night's victory over Barcelona was, what's going on with Marcus Rashford? We did see him come off, and he came off and he looked a bit in discomfort. Certainly, we saw that Erik ten Hag had spoke to him, give him a bit of a pat on the back of the head. We then saw really late last night, it might have been like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, whenever it was, Marcus Rashford uploaded a picture to his Instagram story with him sort of hobbling down the touchline, in addition to having a sort of bandaged head emoji, signifying or certainly implying that Marcus Rashford was dealing with an injury. So the question was, will Marcus Rashford be available for Sunday's Carabao Cup final at Wembley? Is he injured? And Erik ten Hag said, I don't know. The players now are coming in. We have to do a medical investigation. We did straight after the game, but most of the time you have to wait for a 100% diagnosis. So his status for Sunday is up in the air. I think that's worth saying. It's not a case of, no, he's fine, he's definitely going to play. They don't know. Now, you could say, is that mind games from Erik ten Hag? Is that mind games from United? Are they trying to make, lull Newcastle into a false sense of security that arguably United's most informed player is going to be unavailable? I don't think so. Erik ten Hag is as transparent as a plain glass window. I think that's the right phrase. He's a very transparent guy. Is what I'm trying to say. He doesn't really play mind games. Now, he might have, in fairness, played mind games a bit later on in the press conference when he describes Newcastle as annoying, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But I really don't think he knows. It must be said, too, that this press conference aired at 12:30 GMT, but I have a feeling that it was recorded earlier on in the morning, because he said, they're just coming in now. So it might have been a case of it was recorded at 10 a.m. or something like that. Again, I'm speculating there. I don't know that to be accurate. And it might just be a case of they have to wait and see. The issue is when you play those Thursday, Sunday games, if you pick up a knock, it already looks unlikely. But it's a final. And Marcus Rashford has, during his United career, has played through injuries and played through to almost to his detriment at times. That it really last season he was recovering from almost an 18-month period where he was absolutely run into the ground with shoulder issues, ankle issues, you name it. And he won't want to miss out on a final at the weekend. We certainly need him for a final. We're a much weaker side without an informed Marcus Rashford. But as of right now, we really don't know. We just don't know his status. We don't know the diagnosis or the prognosis. The body language implied that there's something wrong. And my concern would be, and this is when it's really difficult as a manager, isn't it? When you have to know that, okay, the player's going to want to play 100%, but what's best for the player and what's best for the team? I think back to, for instance, the 18 Champions League final. Was it 2018 or 2019? Whatever year it was, when it was Spurs versus Liverpool. And Harry Kane going into it was injured. And the question was, is Harry Kane going to play? Is Harry Kane going to play this cup final? Is Champions League final? He's got to play. And he played, but clearly he wasn't fit. And because he wasn't fit, he was really ineffective. And it hurt. It hurt Spurs. I'm not going to say it cost them the game, but it hurt them. That's my point. And sometimes you need to know, as a manager, what's best for Rashford, i.e. he doesn't hurt himself for longer periods this season, because we're going to need him for maybe even bigger games this season, even though it is a final at the weekend. And also, what's best for the team? Is having a 50% Marcus Rashford actually going to hurt us because he's going to be that ineffective at the weekend? Or is he that important? Is he in that good a form right now that even we'll play a 50% Marcus Rashford over let's say, an Alejandro Garnacho at 100% because he's young and because he's inexperienced and he's still developing? Like, what's the best thing for all parties? And ultimately, we won't know until we get that diagnosis. We won't know until probably, the day before, maybe even the day of. It might be a decision, considering how such a short period of time that Ten Hag has and Rashford has. They might have to say, look, it's 48 hours. As of right now, it's about 48 hours. Saturday, Sunday. I think it's a 4:30 kickoff, so just over 48 hours. They might have to really let it go all the way up to that deadline, all the way up until sort of midday or 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock on Sunday to determine, is he going to be available? And again, we'll have to wait and see. Again, some people will say it's mind games. Some people will say it's just being honest and answering the question, saying he doesn't know. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, what do you guys think? You let me know in the chat. I mean, Ahmad says here, Ten Hag got a masterclass on mind games from Fergie over dinner, saying, Sir Alex, just say he's not going to play or say you're not sure, and then he does play, something like that. I'm not sure. What else have we got here? Tank says, I reckon Rashford will be fine. I mean, that's kind of my feeling, is that most likely he probably will be okay. Ten Hag with injuries in general, having covered quite a few of these press conferences this season, he's quite non-committal when it comes to injuries. I mean, for instance, Anthony Martial, he said he definitely won't play because he's like, yeah, definitely. But even in times which Anthony Martial has played, he said, well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not sure. And then he plays 45 minutes or he starts on the bench or he comes on. So my feeling is Rashford will be involved at the weekend. I don't see him playing 90 minutes, put it that way. I think Rashford either, depending on the severity of the injury, he might start on the bench, maybe, which would hurt. Or we could see a similar situation to what Ten Hag did against Manchester City at home, where he started Anthony Martial, and Martial clearly was not fit, and he played 45 minutes, but it was a good 45 minutes for United. Ironically, though, we scored our 2 goals in the second half, but it was okay. We played okay. That might be a similar situation with Rashford. That might be a situation whereby he plays 45 minutes. Oh, look, it just might be a case of Rashford going, look, it's the first time, it's arguably one of United's best opportunities to win a trophy in 6 years. I mean, since we last won a trophy, which was the Europa League in 2017, how many finals have we been in? We've been in an FA Cup final with Jose in 2018 and a Europa League final with Oli in 2021. And I think that's been it, right? That's been our 2 opportunities that we haven't taken to win a trophy. He might just feel like, you know what? I'll take the risk. In painkiller injection, whatever. I'll take the risk, see how much I can do. And then we'll go from there. And then maybe he doesn't play against West Ham on Wednesday. I mean, the next game after that's Liverpool at Anfield. You'd want for him to be involved in that, but it's up to the medical department now. But as of right now, the news is, Vicky just coming in, one of our mods, saying, I missed it. What is the news on Rashford? The news on Rashford is that we don't know. The news is that there is no news on Marcus Rashford. Erik ten Hag doesn't know. Manchester United, I'm sure, have their initial diagnosis or prognosis, but they're waiting for what Ten Hag calls a full medical investigation for a 100% diagnosis. So that's the situation right now when it comes to Rashford there. You know what? I'm going to put a poll in the chat because you know me. These press conferences, you and I, this relationship the UV community and myself have with these press conferences is a lot of fun. So my question is going to be in the poll: will Rashford be fit for Sunday? Actually, well, because he could play and not be fit technically. Will Rashford play on Sunday? Is the one. Yes or no? And then afterwards, depending on the answers there, I might sort of dive a bit deeper into a deeper version of that poll. But we'll see what happens because some people might say, well, if he's injured, he might play from the bench. Maybe the better question is whether he'll start. We can ask that later on. Next question was, Newcastle have progressed significantly this season. How do you rate their progress? And Erik ten Hag said they're a great team. They have a clear philosophy. The key word for them is intensity. They're an annoying team to play against, and they find a way. And everyone picked up, and it's funny how the press works, isn't it? Because you have to be so careful in a room of journalists. And I'm not having a go or anything like that. They've got a job to do and they know what makes headlines. But for a fact, the big thing that will be on headlines and the big thing certainly that Newcastle will be talking about in their dressing room or Newcastle fans will be talking about is annoying. Oh, how are we annoying? And even the room reacted, annoying. And the follow-up question, what do you mean by annoying? He said they find a way to annoy you. And you can't focus on that. You've got to focus on your own game. And that's going to be the thing now. They're going to be annoying. We're going to see all this stuff about being annoying and why they're annoying and why they're not annoying and what have you. It's just, I knew as soon as he said that and as soon as the room picked up on it, because there was a follow-up question that I thought was a bit of a sneaky question to Eric later on, and I thought, oh, here we go. And the next question was from, I think it was Melissa Reddy from Sky Sports, saying, was last night a perfect way to set up the final? And Ten Hag said, it was a good feeling, a unified feeling. We're really together. It was really good. They're a great opponent. Barcelona are one of the best teams in Europe. If you can beat them, it's great. Sunday is a challenge again. It's a totally different one, but it's great to play them. Obviously, last night can be whatever you want it to be, I think, with United. And I think they need to be cautious with it because there is this real strong feeling of euphoria. And we are feeling a bit euphoric. We beat top of La Liga. We haven't beaten Barcelona at Old Trafford since 2008 when we won the Champions League. Paul Scholes rocket into the top corner. We haven't had that success against them. And we just haven't had success in a really long time on a European level. And just in general, even at a domestic level. So obviously there's this feeling of euphoria, and it did feel like a big moment, a big European night. But because it's only a playoff, you have to just brush it away, and that's difficult to do. That's a tough challenge, and that's going to be the real test of the mentality of these players. We speak so much, don't we, at the moment, talking about Erik ten Hag and mentality and the leaders that we have in this team and in this squad of Varane, Casemiro, Martinez, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, David De Gea, all of those players that when it really matters, they're standing up and being counted. And it is a fantastic result, and it was an incredible moment. And they did stop playing the music 15 minutes before kickoff, and afterwards you had Varane, punching to the crowd, and Martinez, beating his chest, and Casemiro being energetic and celebrating. It did feel so monumentous for us to get that win, and in the manner that we got it, coming from behind and playing so well away from home too. But at the same time, it's just a game, and that's kind of the mentality they have to take. You got to take the momentum, realize and recognize it's an incredible achievement to beat a fantastic team over 2 legs and not lose either game, by the way. Probably should have won the first game as well, and deservedly go through against a fantastic team. But it is just a playoff game, and you have to move on. You have to focus on the final. As Ten Hag says, it's not about credit. We can get all the credit we want, or the lack thereof, for beating Barcelona in a Europa League playoff. But at the end of the season, if you don't win the Europa League or you don't win trophies, if Newcastle win the Carabao Cup, that victory feels like it counts for nothing. What people remember are trophies. That's what they remember. People remember victories, of course, but ultimately, in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, they remember trophies. That'll be the thing. Just think of the euphoria that you've got now for beating an incredible team like Barcelona. Times it by 10 if you win a trophy at Wembley to follow that up with. Yesterday was just the appetizer. The main course should be Sunday at Wembley. That's really what we've got to be looking to achieve, winning things. As Ten Hag says, it's about trophies. Trophies are won in May. This is the first one of the season. It's an early trophy to win. But look at what it's done for teams as well, historically. Look at what it's done for Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. Look at what it's done for Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. You can use this trophy to springboard a good season into an exceptional season. And beating Barcelona, winning the Carabao Cup, then who knows what you can go on to achieve? Who knows what momentum you can continue to build? And that's what it's about. It's a great way to set it up, but you need to be cautious. You can't rest on your laurels just because of a fantastic result in Europe last night, because come Sunday, that won't count for shit. It won't mean anything. Newcastle won't care, and certainly we won't care if we lose a final, which we probably would be considered the favourites for. So we've got to make it count as well. Absolutely got to make it count on Sunday. It's a great way to build momentum. Certainly you want to go into the final winning a game against Barcelona rather than losing and getting trounced, but all eyes have to turn. All eyes have to turn and move on to the next one. This is an interesting one. Keith says, I kind of hate this guy. There's no need for hate. There's no need for hate, Keith, And he also says, I mean, you're not wrong. I do need to get sun, but is my complexion that much different to yours in your picture, Keith? I don't know about that. Come on, man. Come on. I tell you what, we all need, not just sun. We just need to, spread some positivity, and spread some joy, and kind of hate this guy, Keith. That's come on, let's enjoy it. Keith kind of hates me, guys. Keith, man. I would say go get some sun in Barcelona. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to do. You can go watch a tour around the Nou Camp, not a European tour because they're not in any European competitions this season. That might be a part of it. Maybe he's a Newcastle fan. In which, if that is the case, son in Newcastle, you kidding me? I don't know about that as well. Come on, spread some positivity, Keith. Oh, Keith, man. Keith. Well, you can't win for everyone. I like the idea of going on a press conference reaction stream. I hate this guy. Come on, Keith. It's okay. No one can hurt you anymore, Keith. It's fine. Let's move on. And the next question, the follow-up question from Melissa Reddy was, Bruno said the players can feel that the fans are invested in the process. Can you feel that too? And he said, yes, definitely. I think we are in the process where everyone believes. You go from game to game, you've seen the direction. We want to improve and beat the best. And to become the best, you have to beat the best, certainly as well. And Bruno Fernandes and I think Erik ten Hag, everyone feels unified in that, right? Everyone feels unified and on the same path. And there does feel like a real positive moment at Manchester United, and let's hope we can parlay it into getting some trophies as well. Super chat from VK says, "Be kind to yourself and others, always, Keith." And Sullivan says, "Owen, you're beautiful. Don't worry about it." Well, I appreciate that, but look, I'm only joking. It's fine. Everyone's entitled to opinion. Look. Honestly, when you're on the internet, when you do this whole YouTube live, people aren't going to like you, or people are going to say weird things about you. You have to develop a bit of a thin skin. I do find it kind of funny whenever any stuff like that happens, because maybe it's just me, and this will sound passive aggressive, but it's not. Maybe it's just me, but if I'm ever watching something, like sometimes you watch TV shows, don't you? And you go, oh God, I'm not liking this TV show. I'm not feeling this presenter. I'm not feeling this whatever. I just turn the channel, and then my day's fine. You know what I mean? But hey, look, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And guess what? So are you. Is it Suleiman? You're beautiful too. Yes. You're all beautiful. Oh, KG's calling me now. The question is, does KG know I'm live once again? He does this in these press conference streams. And now he hung up. I tell you what, if that's a comeback, I think I just didn't pick up in time, in fairness to him. Let's ring him back.
Hi.
Yes, mates. You're live on United View again.
I'm so glad I haven't said anything crazy. I was going to give you some exclusive information.
Oh, yeah, don't.
I definitely won't.
I'll call you afterwards.
Right.
I'll call you afterwards.
Cool. Oh my, and I was going to leave with it as well.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Speak to you in a bit. Well, we can't talk about that, can we? We've got to move on very quickly. These press conference streams are hilarious. What are we talking about? Yes. Oh, be sure to smash the like on the like button if you haven't already, guys. We've got nearly 1,000 people watching, which is awesome for a press conference reaction stream. Sometimes they're in the middle of the day and they're kind of scattered and they're a bit sort of, they're a little like, last minute or anything like that. So if you haven't already, click that like button. KG teasing us with that exclusive info. Yeah. By the way, lots of people really positively reacting to KG's chat with Anthony. He even did a spin as well, which was awesome. So yes, if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Next question was: team has made great progress this season. What message would it send on Sunday to end that trophy drought? Of course, it's been 6 years since United won a trophy. And Ten Hag said, it's a great opportunity to get the silverware in. Football is all about glory and honour. We deserve to play in the final, and we have a great chance to win the cup. The fans are waiting for it, a trophy, so we'll do everything we can, and I'm sure we will. And then the follow-up was, the wait is a long time without a trophy, and Ten Hag said the fans are really waiting for it. Again, we'll give everything we can to ensure that we get the job done. Next question was about the goalkeeping situation with Newcastle United. Now, obviously, Nick Pope got sent off, but they have a bit of a problem, Newcastle, because their backup goalkeeper is Marcel's favourite, Martin Dubravka. Dubravka can't play. He's cup-tied. So the third-choice goalkeeper is Karius. Yes, Karius, the same Karius I spoke about Champions League finals. The ex-Liverpool Karius is indeed going to most likely start for Newcastle United in a big final. Can you imagine it? Now, the question was, Newcastle have an issue with their goalkeeper. Do you factor that in? And Ten Hag said that's for them to sort. We know it. It's definitely not an advantage. We have to test it. That's quite obvious. And I'm glad he phrased it like that because, you know, sometimes when you ask managers those questions, they'll go, no, it's not, you know, we're not even focused on that. And look, you do have to focus on yourself. But at the same time, if you don't have a pot shot at Karius from 30 yards after 2 minutes, you'd be naive not to do it. I mean, Karius, it'd just be so typical, wouldn't it, of Manchester United, of a guy that hasn't played, I think, ever for Newcastle. He's a third-choice keeper on loan. Arguably, his most memorable, or the thing he's best known for, is a Champions League final where he made some horrific mistakes, absolutely shocking mistakes, whether it's, you know, a shot that from Gareth Bale that he throws in the net or throws the ball against Karim Benzema, and I think they've said he might have been concussed or something like that. Either way, it would be difficult for him to have the game of his life against United at Wembley. I'm hoping that's not the case. But if you are United, you test him, right? Of course, you test him. You put a pot shot in. You put when you have a corner or a set piece, you leave a bit on him. You just see what happens. And it's not nice. It's the dark arts of football. But the dark arts are sometimes the difference between you winning a trophy and not winning a trophy. And if I was Erik ten Hag, or if I was a striker, if I'm Wout Weghorst and I start on Sunday, that ball comes into the box, I'm throwing all kinds of elbows. You know, that's what I'm doing, you know. So yeah, that's, could you imagine? I don't know. It'll be tough. But either way, he is going to start, and as Ten Hag says, that's for them to figure out and us for us to test, certainly. Now the next question was circling back to this quote or this comment by Ten Hag saying that Newcastle annoy him, and what is in particular that makes them annoy you? Is it the time wasting? And that's why I was kind of like, well, no, he didn't say that. Don't put words in Ten Hag's mouth when you say that, because he said annoying, and in my opinion, it was a case of English being his second language and a case of him not maybe knowing the best word to use. He said they will annoy you, but in particular, it's not a case of like, you know, because they roll around on the floor, they waste time or anything like that. Newcastle annoy you. Is it because of time wasting? What a leading question that is. And he said, quote, annoying. They try to annoy you. If you see from the FA, referees want to play effective time. They have the lowest in the league, pointing out, if you're going to mention time wasting, basically, I'll point it out. I didn't say that. They're quite successful with it. It's up to us to get the speed in the game, but we are dependent on the refereeing as well. And from when we've played games against teams like Atletico Madrid in the past, I think it's important to point out that teams that try and do that tactic, it can only be as successful as much as you play into it. If you let it rattle you, and if you allow them to do that, then obviously they can, right? I remember last season at Old Trafford against Atletico Madrid, particularly in the second half, the ball was in play for like 15 minutes. It was crazy. But we played into it. We allowed them to do that. If you keep then giving silly fouls away, if you keep giving cheap free kicks away, that allows them to waste time, that allows them to slow the game down, then that's on you. If you're clinical of your chances, and when you do have the ball, you make it count, and you don't give the ball away, it doesn't matter how much time they're going to time waste or roll around on the floor or do whatever, because if they're 1-0 down, oh my goodness, that will speed things up very quickly. You know, the important thing is to not lose an early goal. Don't allow them to manage the game that way. You take control of the game. You take control of the ball, and it stops that from happening. So that would be the key thing. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But just don't get involved. Manage the final, manage the game, and it will be fine. And again, like I felt like that question was a question that was trying to lead Ten Hag down an alley that necessarily he wasn't really going down in the first place, honestly. So, yeah, I think it was not really that much. AW here says, one of the people in the chat says, annoying isn't a negative in the context Ten Hag is talking about. If anything, it's a compliment. And again, yeah, I'm to be honest, if I had an opposition manager call me annoying, said our team was annoying, I'd say good. But I don't want to be like, oh yeah, they're a pleasure to play against. You want to be annoying. It's a competition at the end of the day. It's a cup final. I'm sure they'll take it as a negative, the Newcastle fans. And my only concern would be that could be a comment that could sort of spur them up and give them maybe a bit of unneeded energy, in that cup final to prove people wrong. But again, it's upon us. It's on Manchester United whether to go into that game and win it. We're the favourites for a reason, and you've got to take that pressure and you've got to manoeuvre it into winning a trophy. The follow-up question about this time-wasting stuff was saying, well, given the fact that Nick Pope is suspended, is that a loss for the amount of time that he has wasted this season? And Ten Hag said, I'm not in their instructions. We have to focus on our game and playing football. We have to find the moments where we can strike. And again, it's not, it's not about them. It's about us, which I think is the right way to answer it. The final question was from Adam from United Stand. Big up, Adam. It's always great to see fan channels in every press conference, as I mentioned before, whether it's us, whether it's them, TUS, whether it's Stretford Paddock, whether it's whoever. It's just always great to see the non-traditional or new media, whatever you want to call them, in there asking questions and getting opportunities to speak to people in the club. I think it's fantastic. I really, really do. I think it's ever evolving, and I think the access that you're starting to see from just across the board is really fantastic. So big up to everyone that gets that opportunity. The question was, has a key to your success this season been squad rotation? We've seen a lot of squad rotation in certain games, and heading into last night's game, there was a bit of rotation against the likes of Leeds and others. And Ten Hag said, quote, it's not success, but the road to success. Success is trophies, which we were speaking about earlier on. It's about trophies. And he said, we have a squad we use, and when we play 4 competitions, we need a squad. We can choose formations that we think are most effective. And that's basically what he was saying, is that, yes, it's important to have a squad. Last night, and as we've seen a lot this season, is Ten Hag utilising substitutes, utilising the players on his bench to get the victories, to get the job done. We did it against Barcelona, we did it against Leeds. My goodness, we've done it in so many games this season. And that's really the difference for me between the first half and the second half of the season, is that I felt like, and I said this numerous times, that Ten Hag would turn to his bench in those earlier games and he would look at the options and say, well, they're just not really there. There's nothing that can positively affect the game. There's nothing that can change the game. There's not a lot I can really manipulate here positively for United. What can you do? What can you do to change the game? And that's why I feel like in the first sort of parts of the season, we saw these substitutions after 70 minutes, 75 minutes, maybe even later than that. And he got a bit of criticism for that, Erik ten Hag, going, well, he doesn't make up his mind very quickly, and he takes his time on substitutions. And I think it was mainly because he just didn't have the options that he felt that could positively affect the game in the way that he wanted to. Whereas now it's a bit different. Now he can turn to the bench like he did last night and go, I can bring on Garnacho, I can bring on Anthony, I can bring on Dalot, I can bring on Sabitzer if needed. When I need to shore it up, I can bring on someone like McTominay. They're all positive people to bring on. They're all really useful people to bring on. And I think that's the difference. And we've also seen the rotation of people like Rafael Varane, knowing I need them for both Barcelona games. So they're not going to play in the Premier League against Leeds away, and they're not going to play against Leicester at home, because I need him for those games, and I know his physical limitations, and I know that I don't want to run him into the ground. That's why you've got a squad. That's why you need a squad as well. So again, I think he's right. But as he says, now is not a success. This time of the season, it's not a success. Success is winning trophies. A success is at the end of the season going, we won this trophy, we won this competition, we finished in this place in the league. That's a success. We can go some way to starting a successful season by winning the Carabao Cup on Sunday, but we want more. Absolutely, we want more. And finally, the last question was, is there an update on Anthony Martial? Of course, we've seen him in individual training this week, not in team training. He wasn't available for the game against Barcelona last night. Is he going to be available for the game at the weekend? And the answer was no. No Anthony Martial. He is still, I guess, in individual training. Didn't confirm whether he was in team training or anything like that. It was just a short answer. No, he's not available. So no Martial involved. And it's wild, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's wild that we're nearly at the end of February, and Anthony Martial still has yet to play 90 minutes this season. I think people can criticise Wout Weghorst as much as they want, but where would we be without having that extra body? Because we couldn't rely on Anthony Martial. If anything, it's wild that we've relied more on Wout Weghorst in 6 weeks than we've been able to rely more on Wout Weghorst in 6 weeks than we've been able to do with Anthony Martial all season. That to me is insane. And I don't know what Martial's career looks like, honestly, now. I think that ship has sailed, honestly. I really do. And it's a shame. And I don't want to be one of those people that, write him off, back your players. But he's got a lot of opportunities, really, this season. And I think Ten Hag's given him every opportunity he possibly can. My concern is that it's not one injury; it's just different ones each time. Whether it's his back, his hip, his hamstring, his Achilles, they've all been issues for him this season. And I feel bad for him because I don't think he's done on purpose or anything like that. No one wants to miss all of these games, but you can't rely on him at a time in which we need consistency. It further solidifies that we need a striker so badly in the summer, don't we? And if he could be a squad player next season, that's fine. But I don't even know if he can. Can he make every match day squad? Honestly, the guy's been coming off the bench for 20, 30 minutes and then missing 3 or 4 weeks through injury. The last game he played was against Reading in the FA Cup. When was that? 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? And 20 minutes, and then he just disappeared again. Or was it Nottingham Forest? I forget which game it was. But I mean, it is sad and it's really unfortunate. But I just don't know. When you're at this elite level and you want to, pursue trophies, win competitions, to have someone you have no idea if he's going to play every single week. I mean, even with the people training alongside him, you do this great training session, this link-up play, you try to build patterns of play and chemistry, and then he's not going to be there. What can you do? Again, even as a squad player, it's almost wild to say. You'd almost rather have a Weghorst than Martial in the squad because at least Weghorst is going to be there. He might not be good enough, and when Martial does come on, he obviously, when he's come on this season, he's scored goals and got assists. There's no doubting Anthony Martial's quality, but there is a point. There is a point when you have to say enough's enough. That's the issue. And for a backup player, a squad player, I mean, he's on quite a bit of money as well. There eventually has to be a cut-off point, and it's really unfortunate, it is, but I just don't see him turning it around now, honestly. And I know that might be one of those things that this time next season, a bit like all of those Rashford videos and compilations that are going around now, where you have the black and white video of the person going, he's not good enough, and then suddenly Rashford with all of this music scoring goals and people are like, see, you're all wrong. I so hope that's the case of Anthony Martial, but I just don't know if I see that at this point. Either way, there you go, guys. That was the press conference reaction. As I mentioned, really busy day here at United View, so be sure to check out the plethora of content that's available to you. You've got Matchday Reloaded this morning. You've got the Europa League draw reaction. Myself and Paolo did that. Of course, you've got this. You've been tuning into this. You don't need to see this. Unless you've just tuned in now, you might want to rewind it and watch the rest of it. In addition to that, you've got KG's interview of Anthony. That's up on the channel as well. And, of course, we've got all of the stuff that's ahead of Sunday's Carabao Cup final at Wembley. Previews, extra special content. We've got it all covered, so be sure to check it out. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Click the notification bell too. Then you'll be notified every time a video goes up or we go live or something like that. Most of the time, you never know with YouTube. It is what it is. But there you go, guys. Smash a like on the like button. I'm out of it. Have a great Friday, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Who knows? It might be even in an hour's time, considering how the video schedule has gone today. But I'm out of here. Peace.